Hi, I'm Mike Maloney, and welcome to another CSRM podcast. Today's episode is hosted by Dr. Greg Linville.
Hi, welcome back. This is the third segment with CSRM's weekly podcast. And if you're not aware of it, we do these weekly. They're all archived, and we've had two that are now on the archives for OBU, for Oklahoma Baptist University. We're helping people that are thinking about getting their degree. CSRM is very, very strongly supportive of schools like OBU, Oklahoma Baptist University, so that people like you that are considering a ministry, a lifelong call to vocational ministry, or maybe even avocational, that you're going to get some great training. And we really believe that OBU is one of the best, if not the best, in the country, and for that matter, for the world. And we heard last segment that they're even taking students internationally on some trips, Ukraine, Egypt, and other places. But if you're considering, or you know somebody who is considering getting a degree in sports rec and fitness outreach ministries, we really want you to consider OBU. There will be all kinds of things coming up on the screen if you're watching, and if you're listening, I'm sure you can Google, you can check the internet and get OBU, Oklahoma Baptist University, and you can find the connection. But we also have them connected via our website, and you can go directly to our website and get connected with the school, and we want you to. We think that it's a great, great place. So without any further ado of that, Chad, I'm going to turn to you and give us a little bit of a background on what would be a cost that you could come to a 4-year degree, what's an average, and also are there scholarships or are there ministry scholarships, people that are wanting to go into ministry? Do the students ever get paid to do any of these internships, whether it's with Residence Life, call it Res Life here, or with their internships? Help us with understand the financial part of this.
Yeah, so as
Keep
a
in mind,
professor,
parents will be watching this part.
yeah, as a professor, I'm not directly involved with finances, and it's very different for every individual student and family. Our admissions counselors are excellent at that, and we also, every student who comes to OBU or even thinking about OBU will sit down with the financial advisor, and they will be able to look at a lot more detailed numbers than what I could give you, right? And so I hate to say, hey, here's a number, because it's very different for every family. The financial advisor will sit down and go through that. Yes, there are scholarships. Every freshman that comes into OBU gets an automatic $5,000 scholarship just for coming to OBU, and so you automatically get those. And then there's many
Is that
multiple.
per year or for 4 years?
That is for 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. And so coming in, OBU has been ranked if you go to our website, you see all the awards. We're nationally ranked as far as being the top 10 universities, Christian universities. In Oklahoma, we're the only Christian university that is, we're number one as far as price goes here. And so we are very affordable, but scholarships are a very big part of that. And that's going to be different for every student. So I can't say that, hey, I have a scholarship waiting just for you. I don't have that, but there are scholarships that are ministry related, who any student wanting to go into the ministry can get scholarships for that.
And let me just throw this in, and it's maybe a little too late for our students that are, or our graduates now, the graduates now, but there is through CSRM, there is a LEADY scholarship for universities. And what students can do is get involved in a golf marathon and raise some of that. And there are other people that contribute to that, and students can apply for those grants towards the university through the LEDI. So, Carolyn and Ryan, you guys, if you're going on for your master's degree, you can still apply for that. But yeah, the scholarships are important, and the financial are important. And may I say to the prospective student, and probably to the parents or guardians who are thinking about this with your students, ministry doesn't necessarily pay top dollar. It is paying better, but it's going to be very important for you to find a place that you can stay out of as much school debt as you can possibly stay out of. And as is often the case, you find your future spouse at that university and they have an equal amount of debt, school debt, and suddenly you can have a major debt. And Carolyn and Ryan, any insights that you have for the students in terms of taking care of finances? Either one of you.
I think one that that was a benefit from getting plugged into a local church while I was at OBU. There were older couples that were also graduates from OBU that mentored my now husband, but fiance at the time, in our finances going forward. And so that was something that I would encourage, young couples or individuals who are in the situation to find someone that you trust that was in a similar situation and mentor them, not just spiritually, but a financial mentorship in that, and just open booked and just being honest was something that was really beneficial for my husband and I, and having someone to be there to help us financially outside of our parents.
So my scenario for you was dead on. You both graduated from the school, and you got to have that taken care of. Ryan, any insights?
Yeah, I would just say that's definitely an important factor, in that OBU, I feel like, does a really good job of doing a lot of giving a lot of scholarships. They're really out there, and then what I've found is the students who are the most active and engaging and looking for as many as they can, they find them, and so it's just really about. I really do believe that it's worth the cost, and it's just a matter of the effort that you put in, and then not only in high school and getting the more, it's just kind of like probably most universities, the better ACT score and GPA you have, that helps certainly. But even if you're someone who's listening or watching that doesn't have the best scores of those, then that doesn't mean OBU's not can be affordable to you. But so I'm not saying that you should to do it if it costs just a ton of debt for you, but if you're intentional about it and you can find help where needed, like Carolyn was saying, then it's completely worth it.
Hey, let me give an example. As far as just OBU helping, so this is a real life example. I have a freshman that I met with and is wanting to come to OBU. She's a high school graduate and visit OBU, loved OBU, wants to go into sports ministry. And her parents just said, OBU is not affordable. We can't afford it. And however, I really wanted the student to be at OBU. So I emailed the admissions counselor and several other people at OBU and just say, hey, here's a great student that wants to come to OBU, but finances is a struggle for them to come here, and the admissions counselors at OBU, financial advisors, help find scholarships, help the student, and I'm now enrolling the student this afternoon. When we get off this Zoom, I'm meeting with the student. When before, just a week ago, they said they couldn't afford to come here, but now they can because of scholarships that OBU found for the students. So I can't say that everybody's going to be like that, but OBU is going to do everything we possibly can if that is a hindrance to help find scholarships and brainstorm of ways to help with that.
Potential students, you got to ask the question, what scholarships are available? How can I get this paid for?
And if I can jump in real quick,
go ahead.
One more thing besides just scholarships is, and Carolyn can attest to this, being a part of Res Life is a paying job, and I can't speak for her on this, but at least during my internship at both both of my internships at churches were both paid. So those are things that definitely in the summers and during our January term and maybe even throughout the school year, depending on just what your schedule looks like, you can be working along the way as well.
So, Chad, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what we talked about in the last segment and take it to the next level, if you will, because we get students. They like the campus, they like the res life, they like the curriculum, they like the professors, they feel like they're being mentored and growing in their walk with Jesus as well as being prepared for ministry. The price is affordable some kind of way. But then what do you do? What does OBU do? What does Oklahoma Baptist University do to take them from the class, from the curriculum, from the school, and get them that ministry position that actually pays them the amount of money that they can pay back OBU what they owe?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that's where we talk about my passion for mentoring students and helping students, right? And so that is a process where it's not their senior year that walk into my office and I don't know the student. I've had this student for 4 years in all of my classes. Students, for every time they enroll, they have to come talk to me. And so we talk about their schedule and we build their schedule based on their, the curriculum, but also there's some flexibility in their passions and where they're going. So come their senior year, that's usually pretty easy because we've already been discussing that throughout their 4 years and through internships, right? And so as Carolyn can attest, her internship led to a wonderful job. I think Ryan's background helped him to where he is at right now. And so in all of my classes, I require students to interview other people, network purposely, right? And then I encourage those to go to conferences and other things. And so it's a requirement as part of our curriculum is they have to call up places and talk and interview and ask questions. And it's geared towards what class it is. If it's leadership, they're asking leadership classes. If it's organization administration, they're asking business type of classes in ministry. But they are constantly calling and interviewing people in the field. And again, that's just another way to help connect them to churches and connect them to other organizations. And so when it comes to their senior year and they're graduating, it's usually pretty easy because they've been doing that work already those 4 years leading up to that time. It's not I'm graduating, now what do I do? No, our classes have been teaching you and preparing you and creating those networking to where when you're graduating, you already have a network of people you have talked to and interacted with.
And if you missed it in the previous segments, one of the requirements with the sports rec and fitness students at OBU is to attend the REACH gathering. The REACH gathering, if you're unfamiliar with that, is an international face-to-face gathering, and it travels around North America at various geographic areas, and it is a place where the local church version of sports and rec fitness ministries comes together. And Chad, you require your students to go there. Is required too strong?
Yeah, I think required would be a little bit too strong. I would say, you remember OBU, I teach on the broader scale of sports management. And so not every student is in my classes is going into sports ministry, but the students that are specifically called into sports ministry and know they want to work full-time in sports ministry, I would say it's pretty much required. I put a lot of pressure on them that they need to go to this.
And I would like to turn to the students now, and Ryan, we'll start with you, because I think you had mentioned that something happened at the REACH gathering that connected you with that job, that ministry position. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at we're moving people. We've hopefully we've done a good job of helping people say, you need to go to OBU, you need to enroll and go there. But now we're exiting out. Tell us your experience at the REACH gathering, and then Carolyn will ask you the same question. What was a highlight of the REACH? How did it connect you? If there's students at other universities that happen to be watching this, why should they go to REACH?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big proponent of REACH gathering. Went there twice and was enrolled for the third time before kind of the shutdown and COVID happened and everything, but really passionate about Reach Gathering. It's a lot of fun. And one, I just say, you know, at OBU, there's like a really good education as far as sports management, sports ministry. But sometimes it's categorized as far as, okay, we're going to talk about leadership, then we're going to talk about managing sports events, and then we're going to talk about marketing. But the Reach Gathering is just all straight sports ministry. And so just the wealth of knowledge and the specifics of the things that I've been able to learn through the Reach Gathering has been very great. And then the second, I would just say the encouragement just from like-minded people who are, whether you're in the field and you can meet people who just that networking, and you can find that encouragement and that time that's just really great to worship together and to do those breakouts and to all of that sort of thing. It's very encouraging to see people who either you're going to be in the field and do what they're going to do, and you can kind of see, okay, they're more on the fitness side, they're more on the just sports leagues, and you have the camp, and then so you can just get a broader perspective of what sports rec and fitness ministry is, and then you can also make those connections like I mentioned earlier in the last segment. Of met the two sports ministers from Green Acres Baptist Church in Tyler, Texas, and was just able to chat with them and hear a lot about what their sports ministry is like. And I thought, wow, that's almost exactly what I want to do. And so I was able to find that internship through the Reach Gathering. And so that's just kind of an example of how the networking paid off, but also just the encouragement that they brought to me and the mentorship that I would say that led to the job that I'm at right now.
I've attended 3 Reach Gatherings, and the first one was in North Texas. So that's me calling for a Reach Gathering back in the South. It would be worth it, I promise. But my experience was very similar to Ryan. And I think taking it from the classroom and seeing real life, that there's real people out there that work for real churches that are doing the Lord's work through sports ministry was so inspiring to me, and knowing that, okay, I can do this, that there's others out there, so many others out there that are doing what God has called them to do through sports. And so that alone, of being able to sit and have a meal with other sports ministers as a college student that would be them in the next couple years, was invaluable. And so that is my encouragement to students or others thinking of coming, even as a young person, being able to, I'm not getting directly mentored by all of those people that I met, but there's almost on a weekly basis with meeting with my team, I bring up something that Bob Schindler said in a session, or I bring up a tidbit that I remember from the Reach Gathering. And so, yes, absolutely. That definitely was a part of my education and in a real life setting, for sure.
Well, and kudos to you, Dr. Payne, for connecting, because you're connecting them not only with the ministry position, but with the ministry mentor, so to speak, that they're going to be able to lock arms with for the next generations and however long God calls them. And just a quick, I guess, nothing short of a self-serving advertisement for CSRM. We do have a number of things that help university students. And for those research projects, those papers you have to write, there are years and years worth of blogs. There are books. There's a whole book series. There's all kinds of resources for anybody out there. And Ryan and Carolyn, your churches can order that book series and get the whole series of books and bring you all the way through the theology, the philosophy, the methodology. And so we're trying to support you all the way through this. And also we have an ongoing certification. And I would be willing to bet, Dr. Payne, that most of your students that graduate with a degree would immediately, automatically Can't guarantee it totally, but we'd look at the coursework and their experience, and they could probably get their sports minister certification just for walking through a few of the bit of paperwork to get it done. And then also we have a master's degree. And so even the two of you, if you're looking for a master's degree in sports outreach, you can let us know. And so other people that are watching this, go to OBU. Definitely, you're never going to regret it. But then also know that we can help you get beyond that. Chad, is there anything beyond that at the master's level there?
No, and Ryan, you can speak. Ryan's actually getting his master's right now as well and it's not specifically to sports ministry, but it's in the Christian leadership here at OBU, and that's 100% online for the master's. And so there's been lots of talks at OBU to get a sports ministry master's. One thing I'm learning at higher education, things take time.
Oh, yeah.
And so, so when you talk about getting a master's degree, usually it takes a couple of years before that can get voted in and different things. And so OBU is working towards a master's degree in sports ministry. But it takes time. But right now we do have a ministry leadership master's, and Ryan is able to then use that in his sports ministry job.
And you may be able to, Ryan, or Carolyn, if you go on, you may be able to take some of these master's courses with CSRM as substitute. They could replace, you'd still get your degree from OBU, but you might be able to get some of these things. So as we kind of wind down here in our last few minutes, we're really hoping that you who are listening, you who are watching this, and you're feeling that tug on your heart that God is saying, I'm calling you to ministry. I'm calling you to sports rec fitness ministry. I'm calling you to this local church to do this so you can reach those who are far from Jesus and his church. OBU can help you get there. OBU can really walk you through that, and we highly endorse it and support it from CSRM. And I think we've got two of the shining examples that are on the call today that are the proof in the pudding. And again, if you're listening, just go to OBU or go to the CSRM websites and you can find your way there. The last minute or two, each one of you, the last 30 or 60 seconds of anything that you'd like to say to us. And Carolyn will give you the first word. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, I think, and we touched on this a little bit in the last two segments, but I think for me, the most meaningful thing about OBU was, yes, of the sports management, sports leadership classes, but the well-rounded education that you receive. I use my counseling class to help with conflict management on the field. I use my sociology and cross-cultural ministry class to how I view the people that walk into our programs. And so the well-rounded education for me was something that was so beneficial and that I use on a day-to-day. And I think it goes without saying, but Ryan, and I think I can speak for Ryan as well, that where we're at now is from OBU for sure, but definitely the Lord's work through OBU. The Lord's hand is on the campus, and the Spirit moves through the classrooms and professors. And so where we're at today is yes, because of OBU, but also because of how the Lord moves and works through Oklahoma Baptist University.
Excellent. Ryan, last words?
I completely agree with that. There's just so many examples in my life over the last 3 years at OBU, just with God putting certain people in my life to help shape me holistically. So whether that be just as a person and as a man, or as just spiritually, I've been discipled by multiple faculty members, and then just in the classroom, just with the things that, like Carolyn was saying, that I've been able to take, whether it be from the Reach Gathering or an experience in Ukraine or in the classroom, that I've been able to use in my day-to-day life here at First Baptist Church Broken Arrow. And like he said, I got my sports and recreation management degree from there, and now I'm working on my Master's of Arts in Christian Studies degree with the leadership emphasis. So just so many great opportunities, so many great people, and God really is moving through OBU. And yeah, it was just a great experience, and I would 100% recommend it.
Dr. Payne, last words.
Yeah, well, hopefully you have seen through Carolyn and Ryan, just incredible students and that have come through OBU. We are passionate about sports ministry. I was a sports minister in churches in Houston, Dallas, Georgia, Oklahoma. I'm very passionate about sharing the gospel of Christ. And so I would love to talk to anybody who's interested in coming to OBU and has more questions about the curriculum, has more questions just about campus life or anything. Let's just start the conversation. And so I'm always available at any time to talk to you. And as we talked about in the first segment, we have many sports ministers teaching. So you'll have me for some classes, but you'll also get to see Greg be a guest speaker, Bob Schindler. You'll see other sports ministers at churches right now and so we want to give you as much ways to help you succeed and be successful. And so please consider OBU. I'd love to talk to you more if you have questions.
Well, my thanks to each one of you. And for those of you that have tuned in, please know that we're certainly encouraging you in this way and to make a contact with OBU. We believe in it. We believe in these people. And this is one of the best things that I can say about the university, and particularly about you, Dr. Payne, that it's not resting on its laurels. It's a university that's not saying, oh, well, we've done this for a long time, we know how to do it. They're trying to make it better every year. And the conversations that Dr. Payne and I have had, how can we make it better? What can we do? This is a school that cares enough about Christocentric evangelistic disciple making that they are not resting on laurels. They want to make it the best. So we really recommend it. So with no further ado, again, thank you to each of you. God's richest blessings on you. And each of you are going to order that book series, right? Okay. And
I want to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. This has been a great time talking with you, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
It's our privilege, our pleasure. And we'll look to see how God uses each one of us here in the future, eh? All right. Tune in next week for another episode, another podcast. And if you're interested, go back and look over the archives. And Carolyn and Ryan, you two guys, you can also use the previous podcasts, not that you recorded, but that's been recorded 2 years ago for your staff meetings, right? Okay, just checking. All right. Bye to everybody.
The CSRM podcast is a production of the Association of Church Sports and Recreation Ministers and their video production house, Overwhelming Victory Flix. Dr. Greg Linville is the executive producer, and Andrew Fouts is associate producer and editor. For more information about CSRM, visit csrm.org. For more information about Overwhelming Victory, visit overwhelmingvictory.org. The CSRM podcast is the flagship member of a new podcast network called Overwhelming Victory Radio. For more information on Overwhelming Victory Radio or to listen to our partner podcasts, visit overwhelmingvictory.org/OV radio. For CSRM Podcasts, I'm Mike Maloney. Have a blessed day.